Yeah, sure. Okay, good. I don't want this. I'm just messing around. Thank you. Deal with it.
The weather change. So old. This class starts at 20 or 10?
15.
15.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
Good?
see you.
Where's the video camera?
Sorry?
Where's the video camera?
Oh, it's like, yeah, it's like that black thing up there.
I'm writing my orchestra review thing.
Did last night.
I did mine last night.
Hello? Pizza gang? That's terrible. What's up?
Well, so we had all these great plans to record stuff, and then it all turned out a little bit. But then now that it's for us, we can do anything we want on stage.
That's
As
great.
long as we're
Distance and stuff. Well, that makes sense.
so yeah. So now we're kind of back to it.
That's good.
And Gustavo, our music director, is coming.
Oh, is he coming back?
Well, he's coming next week, and then he has to quarantine for 2 weeks.
This is amazing.
And then we're doing like this
'Cause there's 2
crazy
days,
5-day schedule with him, where we're gonna record two complete programs, like concerts.
That's great.
Because you want that new, like, streaming thing.
Yeah, we're doing this on demand thing.
That's
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, it's just it's like
Oh, wait,
there
it's
is
streaming.
nothing and like like yes, we're on. No, we're not.
It's so up and down.
Yeah.
I just had all of the school practicums for education have been cut. Yeah, which is really. Yeah, I've been watching online, but since like I have all of my classes online, it's nice to come.
Yeah.
So I came last week, because I had reading week last week, so I was able to come. But I don't actually have like class in the
Hey, we
afternoon,
should
so
start.
I just come every once in a while.
Oh, okay. So is this usually it?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay.
I think everyone's here.
Is everyone in the Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shauna's here in the Zoom. If you can start out.
Alright.
Oh yeah, can you grab the iPad?
Hi, Shauna.
You can, yeah.
Do you need
Well, it's both on the laptop and the iPad.
which one do you want me to?
Just take the iPad. Because I'm scared the laptop might run out. So that
Do you want, so I need this so that people can hear me speaking?
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Hi everyone, I'm gonna play the prelude to Suite 3 by Bach.
All right. Hi, everybody at home. This is going to be weird because there's a microphone here and I'm going to try to play the cello.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see how good that really sounds. Bravo.
Thanks.
So before we even get into talking about the playing, I noticed that when you're playing, your feet are like this. So I don't think that you're very centered at all. I don't think you should be playing on your tippy toes. So I'm wondering, A, if you're sitting too high, or maybe you're sitting too far back and doing this. But if you're gonna be on any, like not on this, I'd rather it be on your heels, because then that means that you're more grounded, right? In order to play the cello, I mean, playing the cello is hard enough, and I think you're just making it harder because you're kind of like this, and I can see the cello moving when you're playing. So I just want you to think about that. I'd love to see you more in the ground, right? Sitting up straight and not feeling like I can't, yeah, it's hard for me to do that. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Right? So you're going to have a lot more control if your heels are on the ground, and you can hold the cello a lot easier, okay?
I guess I'm gonna lower it.
Yeah. The normally higher is good for cello, but it just depends, you know, on everybody's different a little bit, right? So just try to keep that in mind, right? I think that you're going to feel a lot more connected. Okay, so my apologies. My cello is so angry right now. It is just all over the place. Strings are low. It's just sounding horrible. I kind of feel like you're going for triumphant in this, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, which is great. Sometimes I think you're like a little bit overplaying, and I don't think you need to. Out there, I mean, playing in here is weird, right? I don't know, how do you feel when you're playing in here? What's the sensation that you're getting?
It's definitely different than I'm used to, especially because like people are like scattered and like the hall's not filled. I'd rather not be filled, but like it's just I'm more used to like people being compact. And
Okay, well, don't worry about the people.
Okay.
But what are you hearing? What's the difference between playing in here, obviously, and playing in, you know, a smaller room?
It's more. I mean, yeah, it definitely resonates more, and it's much louder, and but it's also kind of harder to hear because it's like
Yes.
all over the place.
Yeah. So it's harder to hear. And that's going to happen in any big room that we go into, because as cellists or whatever, we're always practicing in a small room, whether it's, you know, a classroom, a practice room, which is even smaller, whatever, living room, bedroom, at home. So the walls are closer, and your sound comes back to you immediately in those small rooms.
Yeah.
When you get into a big room like this, or even bigger, like Roy Thompson or Kerner or something like that, your sound goes way out, and it's not going to come back to you. So the tendency is to press, because you want that immediate satisfaction of the sound. So you need to trust that your sound is going out there. And so I would just say, like, maybe back off like 2% with the bow, okay? Especially when you first start playing in a room. You get out, you sit down, and you play those first couple of notes. That's where you're going to kind of gauge what's happening in the room. So I always kind of like try not to go 100% right at the beginning, but just so you're getting this nice sound. Sometimes it sounds a little kind of scratchy to me, like you're really in the string. I don't think you need to do that in here, and you put out a lot of sound, okay? So let's just talk about the opening, and we'll go through this a little bit. One of the things that I always wonder about in the third beat is using this open G string. Okay, so open G is, for me, it's the most gnarly of all of the open strings. It's kind of like, it's very unpredictable, right? Unless you have like some awesome cello and like a 5-year-old string that's just dead. So I would consider maybe doing, you can control that way better. Also, timbre-wise, the G string is always brighter than the C string, right? So it kind of sounds like ya na ho ha ho to me when you use the G string. So there's many, many reasons why I just don't like the open G string on this. The last thing you want is just, and it gets that kind of scratchy sound as opposed to, it's just something to think about, okay? First note, I love, but can it be more joyful? Right now it feels like, can you get out there? Just try that opening. One more time. Okay, That's great. Now, you're literally starting before the hair on the bow. So, and that is for me, can you do a little bit in? I think you'll have a little bit more control. You'll still get that kind of jubilant that you're going for, bud. As opposed to that, right? Yes. So you're starting from the string, right? We don't really ever want to come in like that. We want to have, can you get the sound just on that note? What do you want to do with that note? I want to hear it. Just experiment with that note. It's the first note of the whole suite, right? It's so important.
More
That's
lighter.
very sweet. Okay, I like that. It's kind of sweet, right? Then as you're going down, though, you're losing that character, and I feel like you're getting very aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to start that sweetly, just keep it in that same character. That is the sort of start point then. If you're too big, it's really hard to come down immediately in the second measure of the piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. And would you consider just kind of stating this? Right now it's a little busy for my taste. It's a little, you know, I think this is a statement because it happens in the first measure of the prelude and in the last measure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a little bit more straightforward. Right? It's 16th. So and then you're on your way. Yeah? That's nice for me as a listener. Now I feel like, okay, I know what's happening. The other time I was like, oh, you're going to take a lot of time, and then I'm not sure. Now, these, anytime we have these sort of separate 16th notes, you're a little bit in the middle and using quite a lot of bow, and that's where you're getting this kind of fuzz. It's like, do you hear that a little bit on top? Yeah. So I think whenever you have separate notes, especially I think you're starting the second measure, right? Separate. You don't need so much bow, right? I think then you'll get much more the center of the pitch. Otherwise, you're getting a lot of bow noise, and that's going to come out here. And I'm being really picky, okay? But try a little bit less. So you're kind of more in here. Let the bow do the work for you, right? We've paid a lot of money for these things, so let's let them do the job a little bit.
Yeah?
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, so I like the quality of the sound. Now just add a little bit of weight to it, but use the same amount of bow. How's that feel? Yeah.
Better.
That sounds good. Now I'm going to get really, really annoyingly picky. When you go down to the C string, I thought all the... When you get here, C string is always kind of nasty, right? Because it's really thick. So you have to use even less bow in terms of amount of bow, right? Just so it doesn't get that... Yeah. So you kind of have to adjust D string, G string, and then C string stroke. Okay, try it one more time and then go on. Okay, good. So this is good. I need you to have like a sticky note on your stand when you go home.
Okay.
It just says feet, because I want you to get out of this habit, because you know you're just not grounded. Then you can see this kind of action going. Right? It's hard to play a moving cello. Okay. Sometimes I feel like your left hand position is not totally. You're not totally in tune. It's just like a little bit on the flat side. Yeah? Can you just try from here one more time? Just a little bit under tempo, just for exact pitch. That's it. Yep. So what happens is when you get to the first finger is great. When you get to the third finger, it gets a little flat, and then you get to the fourth finger, and it's very flat. So what I think could help is if your elbow isn't so low, and the elbow's low like this, then it's all the fingers. If your elbow's out a little bit more, you have a lot more range of motion with your fingers, okay? So just try that. I know I'm like slowing down to a worm's pace right here.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. So what I'm hearing, this is great. So get those fourth fingers just a little bit higher. Yes. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Do you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just bear that in mind. We're not going to like
Yeah.
spend the whole time on that, but that's just sometimes what's happening only really down in first position, okay? Good. Now, there are corners in this prelude. I like to think of the Bach preludes as fantasies, in my opinion. They're sort of one-offs, right? When we get to the Allemande and the Courant and the Sarabande and the minuets and the gigue, those are all kind of, there's a formula. But the preludes are like free-for-all, right? So I want you to tell me a story in this. And there's lots of different corners that we have to, we come in from something and then we start something else. And right now I feel like you're kind of like, and we need to acknowledge them a little bit. Okay, so one of them is right here. Right? That's the end of the intro, basically. So we need something, a little bit of time, maybe a diminuendo. You can lift after the C before, and then a new texture. But something, we need something, rather than just right in tempo. I mean, I appreciate it, but show us that, can you? Maybe just somewhere, maybe just there.
Okay.
Good. Now, I know you just tried to do something, but it was very subtle. And one thing we have to do when we're in a big hall and we're playing for people is we have to exaggerate everything. And you've heard me talk.
Yeah.
Yes. So I won't say it again. But so can you exaggerate for us? Just that measure. From the E. Yeah. Okay, good. So that was nice. That was a beautiful corner. Now I feel like, okay, now we're in the next part, right? So this are on two different sets of strings, right? One's on the A and D, one's on the D and G. So I think they have to have a little bit of a different stroke, right? Remember what we were talking about in the first measure, when we get down here we need to maybe use a little bit less bow on those separate bows. So So whatever your bowing is, also show us this phrasing. Ya da dee da 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 ya da dee da 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 dee da 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 yum bum bum. Da da dee da 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 dee da dum. Those are the important notes, right? So let's open A's. Not that important. So can you show us these little lilts in the phrase? Yeah? Just go from Good. So I can see you're like internalizing this now, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get this out. And I think you need to give yourself more time. I feel like you're, oh my God, okay, I can't take time. I gotta, and nobody's playing with you, right? And this is the calm moment of the suite, right? So I think it can just be a little bit more relaxed. Rather, it's not, there's no anxiety right now. This is another corner. So take a little bit of time on that G, right? I wish you could see my face.
Yeah.
But hopefully my eyes are conveying
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so can you try that? If you were singing, you would have to take a breath after that D, right?
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with cello playing, especially in unaccompanied stuff. Now tell me a story. Yes, good. Okay, now that's a huge corner. That's like a U-turn,
Yeah.
right? We're going out of this into this really awesome section, right? And I love that you did the, because that's definitely a, aha note. So I think we need some time there. Otherwise, it's too run-on-y, right?
Yeah.
We need a period or a comma or something in that manuscript. I mean, it's like reading a poem. You have inflection. You would never just read monotone and never change your thing, right? So we don't play music like that either, right? So just take a little time there, right? Can you just go from that low F and do this corner like very delicately? Good. So let's just try this once. What's your fingering here? Okay, good. So let's just practice that. Good. Now what I'm seeing, can you just face me a little bit?
Yeah.
It's hard for you to look sideways.
No.
what I'm seeing is a lot of bow, and that's a hard fingering. It's just tricky because it's extensions and stuff like that. So I would like to make your bow a little bit more secure, and that way your left hand's going to feel better about life. So you don't need a lot of bow on these separate notes. Remember, we've been talking about this, right? All the separate notes in here, I think you're just using too much bow. So I'm not used to that fingering, so sorry. But try just those 5 notes. Very simple in your bow. Yeah? That was nice. So now this is a tricky corner. So I think this is one of those places that you need to isolate practicing. It's hard. It's hard to do it if you're taking a moment, right? So you just get into that, take a little time, and then go on with the D sharp, right? Okay, now this is hard because of all these string crossings, right? So, oh my God, I'm so sorry it's out of tune. But I still think you're using too much bow. Can we slow this down ones? And can you be more in here as opposed to out here? So when you're in here, you're going to get more of a deep resonating sound, just a little bit under tempo. So ya, bum, bum, ba, dum. I want you to get a beautiful sound out of this. Good. So you're out here. Can you come in here? Trust me, it's going to feel weird. Don't worry about it. We're trying stuff out. Yeah. Now, how's that feel?
Better.
Yeah. So we tend to go out here a lot as cellists, as a society, because somehow we just do that. But sometimes it's not super helpful, and we're fighting. Because when we get out here, we get this kind of thinner sound, and we have to really work to get that deep resonating sound. Whereas when you're in here, you don't have to have as much weight, you don't have to use so much bow, and it kind of just does it for you. So if you can, try to get in here for this section, okay? I love the sound you're getting on the A string now. The D string is not connecting. Do you hear it? It's kind of like D, ha, da, 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 ha. So let's just slow it down even more. So you're getting this nice sound on every note. That's it. Okay, now every note sounds great. Every note. Now let's just do it just a little bit faster. So and again, don't use too much bow. Try to stay nicely kind of in the mid-frog area. Now we're talking. Now that's like cello resonating, warmth, all the things that we like about cello.
Yeah.
So I think just get these sections down, like really play this slowly, and make sure that every single note you're in charge. Because I feel like you're in charge a lot of the time, but then I think you're not in charge a lot of the time, and some just random things happen. I mean, I know we're in a master class and you have to just play through it, but when you start demanding that every single note that you play is exactly how you want it to be, then your overall level just skyrockets, right? And don't let, if you feel something is weird, when I play a note that's off, like that kind of sound, it drives me insane because I'm not doing something right, right? Almost insane.
Yeah.
I'm almost there. But, I think bring it back. Practicing, especially now at your age, slowing it down, I'm sure you've heard this before, is like critical, right? You have all this time now to practice. I just would love to see you really getting into the point where you're like demanding of yourself, like every single note. So just bring it back a little bit. You'll learn things way faster, okay? So I see that in this pedal, how much time do I have? Sorry.
You have 13 minutes.
Oh, good, okay. When we get to this pedal section, just play a little bit of it. Do you want the stand moved?
Oh, sure.
Good, okay. Okay, so you're doing the hard bowing, which is good, I cheat because I'm lazy now. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
So on those first three notes, oh my gosh. Try to slow the bow down. I would come like just an eyelash closer to the fingerboard. And then on that one solitary up bow, just go light, but fast. So can we slow it down once? And
Yeah.
just dee-da-dum, pom, pa-da-deem, pom, pa-da-deem, pom. Remember, every note you want to be in charge of, yeah? Okay, so what I'm seeing is you're using a lot of bow here, and then you're trying to slow down. Try doing it just from here. You really don't want to get that much further out than here, right? Maybe just beyond the middle, but try using barely any bow on that open the G. The G is going to ring, right? It's open G. So you can like just graze that G and it's going to come out, right? A little slowly. Yes. Okay. Okay. We're getting there. Now, I feel like you're slightly, as you're going, you're coming down towards the bridge. Try to stay up here, just because you're so low for the G string that if we get down here, we get that kind of sort of like sound. So you still want it to be loose. Right? So it's almost as if you're coming slightly closer to the fingerboard as you're coming up, as opposed to going towards the bridge, right? That's going to be up here the strings are looser, so they're a little bit more resonant. Down here it's tighter, so that's when you want to like zing something out. Here you don't need to zing it, right? You just want this, it's like organ. Yeah?
Yeah.
Same speed, one more time. That's it. Yeah. Okay, good. So the quality of sound is great now. Can you try, I feel like you're a little bit out here. Can you just, in this arm? Yeah. So, do you see how my elbow is kind of going along for the ride, but it's not controlling? So So it's more here, yeah. More in the wrist. Try that. Good. Okay. That looks better. I know I'm like throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you right
Yeah,
now.
that's right.
And you're doing awesome. So last thing is that bloody up bow, right? So try to use more speed on that bow. But it needs to be really light. So the weight is different here. It's like slow, light, fast. But you want it all to sound the same, right? That's it. And watch your bow. Okay, so do you hear how like every single note that you're playing right now is incredibly beautiful?
Yeah, yeah.
Every note that you're playing now, okay? That has to feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we want. I mean, cellists were all like, oh, the sound, but it's true, right? So I think if you just do this for like a week, if you can stand it, and just gradually, you're training muscles, you're training. It's all about repetitive. That's why we practice for a gazillion hours, right?
Yeah.
It's just training these little tiny muscles to do this. I think you're just gonna be here, and then you're gonna be here, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I get this, and then you can bump up the tempo, and then pretty soon, you're just like playing this in tempo, but you're like totally feeling good about what you're doing, right? Okay. So that's how I would practice this. It's kind of all the same, just musically. So I wonder if maybe you would consider coming down somewhere. Right now, I think you start quite triumphantly, which I love, but it's a long pedal passage. Probably shouldn't be that close. Sorry about that. Where I kind of like to come down is about right here. After you've done these.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of starting this build up again. Okay? This is exactly the same as this, where we were talking about at the beginning, with these separate bows, so you don't need to use very much on the separate bows, and like try to just stay more in this kind of resonant area of the bow, okay? Especially here, where it goes really quite separate and all on the G string. It's just not a very nice area of the cello.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're close to the fingerboard, not on it, but close to it, you're going to have a lot more success and just not very much bow. Can you just try right there where that starts? Yeah, or maybe just, yeah. Okay, let's slow down. So ya da dee da 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 dee. Okay, so are you happy with that?
No.
Okay, so what's going on? What do you think? What's the sound quality you're getting right now?
Oh, you have 4 minutes.
Okay.
It's like, well, right now it's like scratchy. I
Yeah.
hear like the other.
Okay, so what can make it sound scratchy? What do you think is contributing to that scratchiness?
Well, I feel like it's like I'm hitting the other strings, so like my bow angles,
Okay.
and then I'm trying to play lower down.
You are, which is great. Now, what do you have to give up when you come in here?
The weight.
Yes. So when you play in here, you can't play as heavy as you are out here, right?
Yeah.
Because so just take a little bit of the weight out now, I think. And again, this is when we play down here, the bow is working for us,
Yeah.
right? When we play out here, we're working for the bow. And there's many times when we want to play out here, absolutely, right? I just think this is one of those places where I don't want to work that hard. So try it right there, a little bit under. Now you've gotten the weight out, but it's still a little scratchy. So the reason it's a little scratchy is because it's the G string. You're low, and you're like halfway down close to the bridge. So that's the sound I'm going to get all the time when I play down there, right? On separate notes. If you're doing something like, oh, that's nice, you want to be down here. But if you're doing separate notes on the G string, low, so just come a little closer to the fingerboard, there you go. That's nice. Now this is tricky because you're using, right? So again, try to use more here and not as much here. Small muscles, right? Because they're so quick. Try it. Little under tempo. That's it. Good. Now this one's the tricky one, right? That's it. So again, what it is, it's just you're running before you're walking. I think you just need to slow this down and just clean it up a little bit, because that's a beautiful sound, what you're getting. And that I find this particular 4-measure passage, I have to really be focusing, because it's not a happy place in the cello, right? Now, I know we only have like no minutes, but these, I thought this was so triumphant, right? But I want you to give all 3 beats of these, and then all 3 beats of that measure, right? So it's still in 3/4. So 2, 3. So right now you're playing that as a 2/4 measure. You're playing 2/8 notes. Ya, dee, da, ya, and then you're like super happy.
Yeah.
Right? So can you just try this all kind of like, he writes out these big, right, with the rests. Maybe just from there, ya da 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 dee da dee da da da. 2, 3. 2 and. Yeah, so you gotta save. So slow that bow down when you get to the tip on that up bow.
Okay.
Yeah, just that measure. Okay, good. Now I'm getting a little bit of this sound, so what can you do?
Lighten it up.
Lighten it up, maybe not so close to the bridge.
Yeah.
Now that's like resonating, and it's going out there, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So location is really important, especially when we're down in first position. Sometimes we don't want to be this close to the bridge because it's easy to go there, but it's just like a little tiny adjustment. If you're like between being here and being here, it's such a big difference, right? So I just want you to start paying attention to kind of this stuff, and you can feel it when you're connected to a note. It just, I know. But, it's exciting. So, okay, bravo, bravo, bravo. Thank you. Hey. Oh, nice. Oh, the recordings?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
He's going over 3 hours on Friday.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I know. Well, that's, that's what to do. Hey. Play 2 notes. Get more fun. No. Let's just. Or just give it. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
We'll figure it out. Joe?
Huh?
Pull it out.
Yeah, or yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Shauna, go live. I want to say hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Shauna. Oh, hi, Shauna. I miss you. Hope you're doing okay.
Yep, sure. I mean, it's good.
No, she's there. Oh. Oh, hi. We can hear you now. Play a couple notes. Warm up. All right, let's start. That's all you get.
I just changed like all my fingerings yesterday, so.
Great. That's what we do. We change our fingerings right before we perform because that always works out. I mean, that's hard to sit here for 45 minutes and then go up and play that, so bravo. Sounded really, really good. Yeah, so this piece is, you know, we love hate this piece, right? We love it, it's a nice piece, and we hate it because it's hard. And you're very, very just exposed. Hello, everybody. So I think you definitely feel this piece, and I think we can just, I think you can, I feel like sometimes you're backing off, right? And I think in this piece, that's like not great, right? We need to kind of go to this piece. We have to meet it halfway instead of being like, oh my God, I hope that works, right? So I think that can start I know it looks to me like you want to play the opening theme soft, and then when the return, you want to play it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. My only thought with that is that it's the first time we all hear you as a soloist. And I worry that if you ever get to play this with an orchestra, which I hope you do, that nobody's going to hear you. Okay? Because you won't be mic'd. So we got to get our sound over however many people are in the orchestra and then out there. And also, I think when you start to play a concerto or any piece, the very beginning, that's when you're the most nervous, right? So it's harder to be super delicate, and when you're not used to the room you're playing in, you're nervous, and it's the beginning. So I think you should just play it. It's the theme, right? It doesn't have to be fancy, but it should just be, you should feel comfy. So, just play the cello, right? It's such a beautiful theme. Don't try to get too fancy with it. And just, yeah. Think big smiley face out there. Big A major smiley face. That's nice. How does that feel to you?
Yeah, better. It's like more open.
Yeah, it's a little more open. I feel like you're going to hit the stand. Maybe just, I just don't want you to be, yeah. Good. So when you come back on, maybe this one can be softer. I think, I wonder if you would consider using open A.
Okay.
Just because it's hard. It's like 2 shifts and then you're changing 10. And then just the open A just goes, right?
Okay.
Try from the second time and then go on. Okay, good. So you're flirting with being out here too much, in my opinion, right? If you're out here, try to stay in more. So you don't have to use your whole bow on that 4th beat, right? Now this time, you were nice and in here, and you nailed that C sharp. And in the run through, you're out here, and then that's when it gets hard, right? So I loved it. But try just, go here when you need to, but yeah, maybe just from the second half. And again, full, nice open sound, right?
Wrong fingers.
That's it. Good. So when we have it's hard, right? Because it's this awkward shift, and it's it's not a nice place in the cello. But I want your bow to project calm, right? Even though inside you're like, oh my God, here comes that C sharp, right? So try to just have a nice, easy stroke on those 4 notes. Right now it feels like ya da da da, like oh my God. Okay, now I'm back in 4th position. Okay, life is good. Can you just try that once just by yourself from here? And then ya da 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 da, just very nice and open. more time. Yeah, now just relax the left hand. You don't have to vibrate so hard on these notes, right? Yeah, that sounds much more just calm. I hope you feel calmer playing there. Yeah? Okay, now, the first, that big nasty shift, right? Shift with the bow. You know where this note is, right? So connecting all the way. Okay, so what I'm seeing is, this is when I said we have to kind of go to the piece. This is one of those moments where we can't be like, oh my God, or else then we get that wherever it is, right? What I'm seeing is as you come to the frog, you're backing up and then doing that, right? So if you're going to miss it, let's just miss it. Let's just miss it big, right? Just go for it. Ah, yes. Do that one more time. That was awesome. Yeah, you went 90% there. I want you to go 100%. Oh, yes. Okay, so that's how you have to practice this. It's all at the bow. You know where the C sharp is. The C sharp never changes. It will always be in the same place in the left hand, right? So if you practice that like 1,000 times, like that, you're gonna nail it. Now in the left hand, we can talk about the left hand a little bit. Take your time. Just very relaxed shift. Yeah? That was awesome. That was beautiful. Bow was great, left hand was great, you nailed it. Okay, so just, do that every time. Because it's hard, especially when you're nervous, right? When I'm nervous and I have like these big shifts, I always think about this hand, right? Because if this backs off a little bit, this is going to be like, oh my God, you're backing off. What's wrong? Something's wrong. And then you get that kind of reaching shift, right? Okay. This. Right now it kind of sounds like da-ya-da, da-ya-da, da-ya-da. It's a da-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Can we just slow that down once? Da-da-ba-ba-da-bum. Okay, so I know that there's dots and all of these things, right? But once your bow starts flying off the string, you have no control, right? So I was talking, we want to be in control all the time. So dots are a character. It doesn't necessarily mean to do this, okay? It's like a short, lively character. So the second note, do you see how low the hair is to the string? So I'm not doing that. You're not doing that either, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try just keeping it really low to the ground. That's it. Okay, I like the first two, and then you started getting off, right? One more time. Yeah, the first three were great. Okay, now I actually think you can use a little more bow, right? Remember, you need to get it out there, so we don't want to be too in here, but out there. So get a little more grit to the sound. That's it. That's much better. Okay, I could still, like the first two are great, and then you kind of start going way off the string. So stay, then we have this. Now this is impossible if you're doing that. So I don't know if you can see my bow. It actually doesn't leave the string. Do you see that? So there's always a degree of length to every note, right? Just because it's short, it just means there's less length. So try to get that more in your head, that there's just less length rather than like, oh my god, I have to play super short. And then the bow tends to fly, right? Can you go ya da da dee da da da, and then yum bum 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 bum? Think length of those notes. Yes. So that's still short. That's still a different character, but now there's actual length of the note, and I kind of feel like you're in control now, right? That's great. So this is also key, which you just did perfectly. In tempo, you don't want to use so much bow on that note. Sorry. Then that you have all of this bow. So try to slow down. And then it feels way better in here than having to start out here. Yeah? Try from ya da ba ba da ba ba da ba ba. Just a little bit under tempo. Really low to the ground. That's the right idea. How's that feel?
Yeah, more in control.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Right. So I cannot think of any instance in any cello playing where my bow is flying off the string. Okay? It's just a degree of on, I guess. So same thing. We have these sort of two strokes. We have this down, up. Sometimes they have string crossing, sometimes they don't. Same thing here. So you're just going to stay on the string, and then this is the third stroke, where you don't want to come too far out, right? I would recommend this fingering rather than, although that's not bad. I was just wondering which one you changed last. Yeah, it's up to you. The other one is okay too, but
Yeah,
it
it's
didn't.
hard to like prepare for it.
Yeah. Let's just practice this one.
I was playing like.
Oh yeah, fingering fine. Whatever fingering you want to do is
Yeah,
fine.
I was playing as like.
Separate? Totally fine. Okay, so it's just because you need to have bow freedom when you get there, right? So feel free to come and use a lot more bow on those separates, right? Yeah, so connecting that harmonic is hard, right? So once you start here, can you just play that from the D sharp starting on an up bow? Yeah. Good. Now, what I'm seeing is this. There's no length to add those notes. So, you see how much bowing I use? Try once this on one note. More. Good. Now what I'm hearing is ka 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 ka. So make it more horizontal. That's it. Yeah. Try once completely on the stroke. Yeah. Can you try using more bow? And maybe just a tiny bit out of the frog. There you go. That's it. Now you just want to go from this to just a tiny bit. Yeah. That's the right idea. Yeah. So you're connecting this slur. Does that sound short to you? It's short. It's short enough. But I think if it's, that's not the sound we want, right? Yeah. Now I think you're just way too close to the frog to get this kind of light stroke that you're going for, right? Because this is obviously the heaviest part, so you're just making it harder on yourself. So, right? That's it. That's it. That's the right location.
Okay.
Just practice that, because you're going to feel like when I get to that place, I'm like, oh, this is easy. Because I know I feel good about it. And I don't do the up-ups there either, by the way. The up-ups are like, it's just fancy, but you don't have to do the up-ups. And that leads you into this sort of passionate. And then we're back to the kind of playfulness. All right? So those 3 strokes, practice, but they're all going to be a degree of length, right? Okay. Then we have the shift. Just in case you didn't get it the first time, you get to do it 2 times. In between, it's like, great, okay, that's over with. You don't have to do that ever again. Now, this is also, I feel like it's too short. So a little bit more in the middle of the bow and really low to the ground. Can you just try it a little under tempo? Good. Try it on the string. And kind of like here-ish. Yeah. That's great. Do that again. Okay, so as you are getting higher, you're getting closer to the frog, and it's starting to get that kind of like sound, right? So try to stay more. That's better, right? Now, remember what we were talking about? There's degrees of length. So it's just a tiny bit off. I'm still on the string, right? But they're just not as long. Lovely. Now, then, when you just play it faster, it's just a little faster. So I would practice playing it on the string. That's going to get you feeling grounded. Then just play a little bit shorter. But I'm not flying. Does that make sense? Can you try it once? Just on the string. Yeah. What I'd love to see is once you get up in the thumb position that you don't start pressing. So do the same exact stroke that you were doing before that. Yes. Do it one more time. Good. Now just play just slightly shorter. That's a difference. That's a difference. Now play a little faster. Good. So what's happening is you're just not quite ready for that tempo, right? So on the string practice, because that's going to make you feel like this instead of like that, right? And then that's just this whole movement. You started this passage out great, but then you started using more bow. So this is one of those like mechanical places that it's literally the same bow stroke 5 times. Right? So just say you should be able to do that in perfect touch, right? So just stay here. Sorry, try that. Good. Let's slow it down. So a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Good. So try using a little bit more bow on the down bows.
Sorry?
Just a little more bow on the down bows. So see how you're getting closer and closer to the frog? So try once. Just throw your bow a little bit on the down bow. Yeah, I still want you to use more bow. So watch on the down bow, like all the way to the tip. I just want you to get relaxed on that down bow. So go all the way almost to the tip. Yeah, that's it. That's much better, okay? Because you're more relaxed. There doesn't have to be any space in between these two. Right now I kind of feel you're trying too hard. So can you do this once, just as like really fast bow all the way out to the tip? Okay, so you made it to there. I want you to go to the tip. Okay, you made it to there. There you go. Yeah, now you're making it to here. So I don't want you to sound good right now. I want you to just feel relaxed in your down bow. So it's super, super exaggerated. There you go. Okay, so that's how relaxed I want you to be. That's how relaxed you should be when you're playing this. It's right? So can you practice it like that?
Yes.
I know we're like pressed for time, right?
10.
Okay. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's just super chilled out. Okay. You can, in my opinion, you can use the harmonic at the very end if you want. I find it kind of goes out into there, it matches the woodwind texture, and it's easier. Because life's hard, so why not give yourself a break? Now, in this beautiful, awesome line here, make sure you wait for the orchestra. Hey, after that long G. Sorry, that's before the third variation. Because they have yam, ba, ya, da, da. You have to come off of that orchestra part, right? So slow the bow down, which I want. Always these two, da, ya. Whatever you want to do here. But tell us a story and introduce this, and then, right? I kind of felt like you went, right? And it doesn't really fit the mood. Okay, that was better. I still kind of feel like it's yum, bum, bum. Like, right? So just da, da, da. It's kind of like you're going off the cliff, right? And you're floating for a moment before you come down. This, be careful, fuzzy, fluffy sound, I think is basically you can never play fluffy in a concerto. Almost never. So even in here, I think if you go too much like that, then only they're going to hear you. Nobody out there will, right? So still got a long way to go. Then at the the very end you can kind of maybe fuzz out, right? But I wouldn't do it before that. One more time. Let's try this once. I want that F to not be louder than the G or have any kind of da 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 dee, da 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 da. Very just open. Okay, good. But now you wimped out a little bit. So you can still use full bow to get back to where you want to. But just so that it's like this. No, I know you're not happy. I'm not happy. Now you're just playing. You're out at the tip. So go back. Use a lot of speed on that F. On the bow speed, right? So you're back here where you feel good, right? Okay, so of those two notes, which is the tense note and which is the non-tense note? Yeah. So I think you need to have different vibratos as well, right? So maybe a little bit more tense and then relaxed, right? Now you set us up, right? That's such a great moment because nobody's playing, so you're literally in charge of the room for like 8 seconds. It's pretty awesome, right? So just enjoy that a little bit more and be like in control of every morsel of those notes all the way to the end of the G, right? And then I think physically, don't give away too much. Like a very calm into it, right? Can you try it once? Just the last two notes and then go on. Okay, that was great. I want to add one thing though. If you're going to be a soloist or play with piano, if you do this, nobody knows when you're going to play. Right? So it's like, so you need to communicate this with a conductor or a pianist, right? So it's just a little something, you don't have to look at them, but just some kind of a body something, because the whole orchestra is going to come in with that. You know, basses and cellos have pizzas, so pizzas need some kind of, right? Can you do it one more time? Okay, so that happened in the run through too, and you're afraid of that note, right? Because it's, you know, it's not in a nice place. So this is where you can really use your bow. By the way, that transition was perfect, right? It's awesome, beautiful. So practice that, okay? So. This is one of those moments you have to meet the piece. You can't back into that D, right? So have the confidence with your bow use way more bow starting on that C natural, right? And then the pickup. If you're gonna miss it, then just miss it. But it's better than that, right? Can you start right on it and meet the piece? Okay, thanks. Good, good, good. Nailed it. Right? So same thing with the shift. Go to it. Go to that D. Right? Demand that it's going to be awesome. Every time you have this, I wouldn't take a break. And same thing at the end of the first part. So never any break, right? You're the soloist. Always spinning out the sound. When you get to this part, I think you can push more. There's a big accelerando, right? This should be just huge. Can you try that once from and push her a little bit? I feel like you're only trying to play big by using weight, and you're not using any of your bow. So for this, you see how much bow I'm using? I'm using a ton of bow. I can't just do it with weight. And especially here, I'm almost going frog to tip on each note, right? Right? Can you try it right there? Da-da-da. Yeah, because we're running out of time. Use a ton of bow. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. When you use that kind of bow, you gotta use a little bit less weight, just so you have the freedom. Okay? I know we're gonna get kicked out. That's the tenth note, and then, but don't get fuzzy, right? So that should be just like like fill the hall. And I think you're doing too many bows here. So just try to make it all da-da-da-ya-da-da-da-da. Same thing. Just, I think, right? I think there's a lot of separate bows. And lastly, at the very end, come to the frog. And I think it's just harmonic. So I think if you vibrate, it's too edgy, you know what I mean? So just let it be out there. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting kicked out, but bravo. So low to the ground on all the fast stuff, degrees of length, and then like, let's meet the piece.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, all right. Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. You guys. Thanks, Daisy. Sorry. Yeah.